So I'm sharing my screen. Once you're able to see the PPT, just say yes in chat box or you can respond.
Class.
Okay. Hope the PPT is visible, right? Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Great. So we are discussing about centralization and decentralization. So as I take in the previous example, so whenever we say Kaizen, so Kaizen, it is not done by the top management. So definitely there is an involvement of subordinates. So without the involvement of subordinates, we are not possible to do the Kaizens or Pokayoke, even 5S, etc., etc. So decentralization in the sense where we increase the involvement of all the subordinates. In centralization, their decision will not be there. For example, expansion of operations. Is it a decentralization or centralization? Where it happens? There we take the opinions of subordinates or the workers in the shop floor. For project expansions.
Actually, I could not get the definition of centralization.
Okay, fine. No worries. I'll explain again. So if you see the definition itself, centralization to decrease the subordinates' role is centralization, and to increase it is decentralization. Increase in the sense, if you see a centralization,
can you take one example for a differentiate between centralization and decentralization?
Yeah, sure. I think it is easy to take an example for decentralization. I think you can correlate with the centralization, what it is exactly. So as I mentioned, a Kaizen. So how the Kaizen works, I think most of the people are, from working professionals. So Kaizen, it is or I can take 5S, it is easy activity. So how the 5S works? So 5S, it is mostly done by the shop floor employees. The top management only oversees.
No. You are.
Shibu, can you please mute yourself?
No, I'll finish in this much story.
I'm sorry.
Shibu!
I request once again, please be mute. Otherwise, I have to forcefully mute everybody. Okay, great. So if you see decentralization, where the subordinates' opinions are considered largely, those kind of things will fall under decentralization. Where subordinates' role is very less, there they will not consider at all. That is centralization. Centralization in the sense, for example, setting up of a new plant or project expansion, production line expansion, those decisions and all, the subordinates will not get into involved. Only the top management will take the decision, they will execute that. So whenever you do a safety training program, or you are doing an accident investigation, or you are doing a risk assessment, or you are going to plan annual safety training program, there you take the feedback of the most of the from the shop floor, because they are known, or while you are writing an SOP for any specific activity, there you will increase the participation of subordinates, in the sense workers or the down level people, or your own subordinates also. That is decentralization. Making more involvement of people is decentralization. Keeping things away from the subordinates, it is centralization. Hope I've given a good example. Is
To
it?
understand centralization of decision making.
Yes, decision making. It is
More
nothing
or
but
less-
involvement of people. It is not only decision making, involvement of people.
Okay, actually, decision making and taking feedback both are different things.
Yes.
But so centralization means more or less correlated with the decision making. I'm understanding like
Correct. Correct.
that. Okay.
So basically, this is used for basically this decentralization will increase the morale of the people who are literally working on the shop floor. So it will increase the the productivity in the shop floor. Another principle, scalar chain. Normally, a chain of authority runs from the highest authority to the lowest rank, but however, it is very long and causes delay. Cross communication, I think, but shortcuts between two employees at the lower level should be permitted to avoid such delays. Or gang-plank principle. It is nothing but gang-plank principle. So it is in a straight away principle. It is nothing but a scalar chain, how the authority flows. It is nothing but from chairman, MD, JMD, CEO, and CFO or other managers, then their reporting style, etc. From chairman to the lowest category of employment. This is how the information passes. And somehow to avoid this delay, here we are telling that cross-function or taking shortcuts, they can exchange the information in the lower levels also. In this also, there are two types of management, a span and a narrow, that we discuss in our future lectures. It is nothing but how authority will flow from top to down. And now we'll see how managerial roles, it is nothing but what are the various roles a managers will play. I mean, the management will play. One is the figurehead. So he will be act as a head or perform legal and social duties. Example, gets the special visitors, takes customers to lunch and attends the ceremony. These are the basic examples who be in the front to take the things forward. Another role he plays is as a leader. He is responsible for all the work unit. Maybe it is maybe a hiring or firing, motivation, training, staffing. All the activities will fall in. Then license. So definitely we have PR departments or licensing department, and sometimes HR also takes care of this one. So who maintains the good relations with the peers and government officials and even local communities, etc. Then other role, informative roles. So here they'll be called act as monitors. Is nothing but who receives the information from the shop floors, and also they will look after the performance of the people as well. Then disseminator, who passes the information and gives to the workers important dates and brief about the things, especially on any specific decisions or any initiatives or any decisions by the top management in part of maybe collective bargaining, especially for the union people. The HR manager will be act as a disseminator. He will passes the information of the management, and also he will take the information from the union, then he will give it to the management also. Then another role, a spokesman. So he will send the information outside, like he is representing the company. So like a company manager. So the board of directors will not be reporting, but definitely every factory or the facility will have the facility manager who will be representing behalf of the top management. So
That
he'll
is
be
factory manager. For
yes,
example, factory manager.
Yes, for example, factory manager. So he will be representing as a spokesperson behalf of the top management. This is the other role a management or a manager will play. Then a few decisional roles. So the entrepreneur, so improver of the work unit, example, looks out the few ideas and develops the new programs. So this is also one of the role managers will definitely play to improve the existing conditions or the activities which is performing. And disturbance handler, this is the very crucial role. Every manager always, get into this kind of role, response to the pressure, crisis, even face the strike and decides how tackle emergency. It is nothing but how you are managing the critical things or the conflicts between two departments, or maybe definitely disturbance handler. I can say a factory manager is the disturbance handler mostly between safety and other departments. So always safety department will do a tug of war with other departments in part of implementing the safety practices. So the manager or the factory manager or the other person who is accountable, or CEO or CFO, who is takes care of the safety, is one of the key accountability. So he is going to be disturbance handler. Sometimes in the shop floor level also, maybe in between two people, even HR people also, mostly they will play this disturbance handler role to have the different opinions between the manager and his reportees, etc. Then resource allocator. So the resource allocator, it is not only a HR function. It is about whatever the resources you have in your hand, how you are allocating and how you are utilizing it. So allocate resources of men, money, material, market, machines, and methods. This is in a high level of resource allocation. So in bits and pieces level, so it is about how a HR is allocating the people based on the requirement of a production or safety or quality or project requirement, and how a project manager is allocating his team for the various projects. And negotiator, so represents management in the settlements, agreements, and bargaining and negotiating. So this is also one of the role the managers will use to involve negotiations, in the sense purchase manager will be negotiating on the products or the material which he purchased for the company, and HR manager or HR person who is do the negotiation with the employee in the remuneration part. Even a personal department person who will negotiate with, in case of any incident happens, he will negotiate with the victim's family or the victim's dependencies on the settlement, etc., etc. Okay. Now we'll see what is authority and what are the few the characteristics with respect to authority. So basically, authority means it is in a legal or a delegated power or right to a person. Example, a safety officer has authority to design and sign a safety work permit, or to sign a purchase order of safety equipment. Sign in the sense of who approves the work order. He is having that authority. So authority also will be to a specific level or a specific thing. He is not authorized for all the things. Every authority is clearly defined. So it can be delegated also, and it is decentralization of power downwards. A safety officer can delegate his authority to permit some work to his safety supervisors. So authority can be delegated. How it is being delegated? For example, a production manager, he is on leave. A critical batch which we are going to start today, but due to some health conditions, he went on leave. He delegated his authority. It means he has to be there while charging that batch or charging the reactor. So instead of him,
charging authority to someone.
No, charging. Yeah, he is delegating his authority to his subordinate, to an assistant manager. Charging is nothing but putting or filling the reactor. Charging is nothing but pouring of materials into the reactor through the hopper. Got my point?
Okay.
Or I'll take in a simple example of loading and unloading an activity. So a critical material have come. So he has to oversee the loading, unloading of that such a material. So due to some health and he went on leave, and he assigned, he given that authority to oversee that activity to his subordinate. He is an assistant manager. So that is how the authority works. Authority can be delegated. So you can give it to somebody for certain time or duration. So here there is another author, Henry Fayol. authority, he has defined that authority is a right to give orders and also power to exact the obedience. So if you see the few characteristics of this authority, it is supposed to be used only for organizational goals, not the personal goals. So once you got an authority, okay, so आज मेरा बॉस नहीं, आज मेरा मेरा बॉस हूँ, so सबको पनिशमेंट दे दूंगा, ऐसा नहीं कि, so we should not take it for a personal goal achievement. You should always use for only for organizational goal achievement. And it is also a key managerial function. In the sense, everybody should delegate. Then only the subordinates will get motivated. They'll be feel happy and they will work for you obediently. And it gives a right of decision making and to get the decisions carried out. So authority will give the decision making power also, because the person who is supposed to be taken care of that activity, he is not there, he is given the authority to you. So definitely you should have, or definitely you will have to take the decision making power, and it can be delegated. So as I mentioned, authority can be delegated in the sense you can give it to your subordinates who is a perfect person who can deliver it properly. And other function is responsibility. We have seen authority, now we'll see responsibility. So as in a Dalton, MC Freeland, he mentioned that responsibility is the duties and activities assigned to a position or to an executive. It is nothing but day-to-day activities, JD or job description. So if you see the responsibility, the main the characteristics, how it works, it cannot exist without authority and vice versa. It is simple that as we seen, authority and responsibility will go in hand. So they should go with together. Otherwise, it can't survive. And it originates from a supervisor-subordinate relationship. The responsibility is always develops from the supervisor and the subordinate relationship. It is absolute and cannot be delegated. The responsibilities cannot be delegated. As I take an example of manager who should oversee the loading and unloading of the materials, he just delegated his authority to oversee the activity to his subordinate. But in case of any non-compliance, in case of any mismatches, in case of that activity has not happened as expected by the management, the manager is going to be responsible, because responsibility cannot be delegated. You can delegate only the authority. Okay, responsibility always relays with the manager who is delegated his authority. Any confusion here? Responsibility we can't delegate. We can delegate only authority. For example, work permit. It is the critical activity. A safety manager is supposed to sign. I'll take the confined space work permit. Whenever as per the company policy or work permit procedure, all the confined space permits has to signed by the safety manager only. In case he is not there, subordinate can sign. So he has given his authority to his subordinate, but he is not properly checked and he has signed it. In case of any accident happens, the responsibility will goes to the manager only. That is how here it is. So while giving authority, he has to clearly explain what he has to perform, how he has to take that activity
For
forward.
my own question is there.
Yeah,
Sir,
please.
this responsibility, what a safety in charge not there. So the manager or assistant manager, he is giving sign. So
Yeah.
this responsibility is for safety manager. It will come actually.
Yes, yes. Because he is responsible for that activity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, just I hear that what a safety officer is not responsible for such kind of activities. What he is the authority, but not a responsible person like that. I hear Factories Act. It will tell like that only, sir.
No, no, no. You know, Venkatesh, you went beyond the topic.
Okay.
That is different now. Recently, even the Bureau of Indian Standards, they have recently released one IS standard. I think 1702. There itself, the safety department, it is nowhere responsible for the work permit activity itself. The only thing is the safety department has to educate all the line managers and the respective team members to meet the requirements of this standard, and they always give trainings, and they will only oversee the whether the permit activity is going as per the requirement or not. That is different. Here I've just taken as an example only to understand easily. As the safety officer, he is the only advisory role as per the Factories Act. But here I'm just for the sake of this responsibility and authority, I've taken that work permit example.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I just want to say something related what you just said.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
it may not be, I may not be correct. Please correct me. When you
No
are
problem.
telling
Please.
that the person when delegated,
Mhm.
if anything goes wrong, he will be facing
Answerable.
whatever the
Yes.
action is. It is a penal or any disciplinary action, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The manager is responsible.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
So when activity happened in his absence, or whatever the reason it may be, how can he can be held responsible when he is not available at site or not overlooking the job?
You are right in practical case. I'll give another example. In case if the manager is in absent, so something has happened, and when we do an investigation, who is going to answer the management? Either the AM who is there in that position, or the manager will going to respond to the management. Who is representing that case with the management? Definitely
In
manager will
our
go, right?
in our case, our area manager is the main responsible person. But before that, executor and issuer both are also the same responsible for that. But accountability is concerned to area manager, and if issue is something happened, it is related to issuer and executor. Both are responsible for that.
Yeah, that work permit case, it is true. Here we have to understand the concept. It may vary also. Here we have to
Ah.
understand that whenever you can delegate your authority, but you can't delegate your responsibility. You can't say that, sir, मैं उस दिन नहीं है. I am not going to give any corrective action for this. I am not going to held responsible for this. But definitely you are responsible. Even though you are not there, for the consequences of actions or the corrective actions which you are going to take, you are going to be responsible for that. That is what
In the
I'm
absence
trying to
of
convey here. Yeah, in the options
if,
also. For example, please.
please, sir, carry on. If somebody is absent, then if some leader is absent, suppose I am absent and I give the authority to someone to do this activity, and during this something incident happen, then I am always responsible for that.
Yes, partially. I'm not saying that completely you're responsible or you're going to be in the bars or you're going to get penalized, but you're the responsible person for that, right? Responsibility in the sense, in part of not penalization, in part of not you are going to be, investigate or scrutinized, etc. It is mean that it can't be delegated. So whatever the roles which is given to you, it can't be delegated. That is what I'm trying to convey.
Okay.
It may be it confuses in the initial stages, but slowly once we get into all the concepts,
Yeah, it means
you'll
that
get clear.
the person,
Yeah.
person who is delegated, he will be responsible for that particular incident what has happened due to lack of something. But the person who has delegated him, he is absent, but he will be responsible for other corrective action to improve the systems and all that. Like that way.
Yes. Correct. The simple concept is we have to keep in mind we can only delegate the authority. We can't delegate our responsibility. I mean to say that the accountability part. Okay. Yeah. Then where we are. Yeah. Yeah, it is absolute and cannot be delegated, and the authority can be delegated. And he who holds the accepts the responsibility is accountable to his superior. That is it is general basic roles and responsibilities, and it is an obligation of a subordinate to perform the duty assigned to him. Then it is a derivative of authority. It is nothing but it is go in hand, and it follows upward with authority. If it follows upward while authority follows downwards. Okay, whenever you go more and more, your responsibilities will get increased. Whenever you go downwards, the authority will go down. I think this point is clear, right? Authority to a person, for example, the authority of manager and authority of a workman in the shop floor. It flows downwards. Whenever your position is down, automatically your authority also will go down. And accountability rises out of responsibility, and as they go together, an authority gives responsibility, which is a turn creates the accountability. So accountable is nothing but to what you are responsible. Out of responsibility, the accountability will comes up. Then other word, which is power, which also makes a bit confusion. So basically, the power means ability or a capacity to do something, to act, to control, or to exercise a force or a command, etc. So power also comes with authority, because authority gives right, and that right gives power. So these are, closely work together, or almost sounds same. If you see, the basic difference between these two is right to do or command, or ability to or command. He have authority to do that, but he is having that ability to execute that. And delivered from position in the organization or institution, derived from many sources like authority, seniority, knowledge, or competence. So for getting the power, maybe he is having senior in the organization, or he is having knowledge, and also he is competent in that, so that he can perform the power. Flows downwards and can be delegated. Flows in all directions cannot be delegated. So legitimate and resides with the position. So this always, it depends on the position where you are working. And for the power, it may not be legitimate, extra constitutional, or assumed. It will not link with any position or whatever the department or whatever the designation you are working. So the authority increases as one goes up in the hierarchy. So whenever you changes your positions, whenever you go higher levels, so automatically it will get increases. But the power may or may not accompany increase in the authority. Then right to allocate resources, the authority will give, but here you can give the ability to control the resources. Then this is a narrow term, one source or subset of other powers, and a power will carries the broader concept, can achieve the results when authority fails. So simple that maybe an engineer who is having authority to control the shop floor people, but the shop floor people are not listening to the authority. The manager who is having a power to command those people to get that activity done. So here what happens, whatever the authority the engineer is having, it get fails. The manager with his power is getting that activity by the subordinates. And this authority will be visible from the organization chart, where we can see the complete organization structure, and the power is not in the visible, it is invisible. The power is always invisible. Then other concept, span of management, as I mentioned. So span is nothing but it is going to have the unit of command. How many people are reporting to one person? A span of management refer to the number of subordinates a manager or supervisor can effectively handle, and his limitations of time, capacity, ability, nature of work, pressure of work, etc. It is simple that a person or a manager or a person, how many people he can handle effectively based on all these limitations, the time he is having, how capable he is, and the ability and the what nature of work he is performing. So no single individual can effectively supervise unlimited number of people, subordinates, and the term span of management, span of control, span of supervision, span of authority are used to interchangeably in the management literature. So these all words will give the single meaning. Okay, span of control or supervision, authority, etc., etc. Okay. So we have less than a minute. I'm stopping with this definition. We can continue in the next class. Okay. So what will basically how I practice is after completion of the specific lecture PPT, I used to share with the in the PDF format to the admin team. They will share with you all people. Okay, that is how we practice. Meanwhile, any questions you have, you can happy to ask. Any questions?
Sir, the span of class is it is not possible to continue 2 hours.
No, sir. I think this is the standard way we are doing.